always alerting, always tracking. This is Next Weather.
Ivan Cabrera back with us. Ivan, I'm not sure how many votes you or I got for Sexiest Man of the Year, but maybe next year.
Got left out again. I think our decade's passed us already.
Maybe so.
Maybe more refined, like a wine, right?
There you go.
All right, upper 70s right now, low 80s in Key West. I was out to dinner for a little bit. My goodness, that wind with the lower humidity feels fantastic outside, even though we're gusting a little bit stronger there. But right along the coast is where you have the strongest west inland. We lose that a little bit. Here's next weather radar and clouds. Pretty quiet. An east wind coming in here. We had a couple of showers earlier. Those are pretty much done across the Keys. And these wind speeds are not what we'll have tomorrow. The difference tomorrow will be we're going to have the low humidity. We're going to get rid of that wind. And so that's going to improve marine conditions as well. So breezy behind this first front is what we had today. Will be less humid on Friday. And then the secondary front comes in Friday night. And that'll set us up for that cooler temperature that we were expecting a Saturday morning with morning lows in the 60s. That's going to feel nice. There you see the winds coming down nicely. And as far as the temperatures, those will be doing the same. Now, granted, we're only a couple of degrees below normal. That's the cool down right on Saturday, but it is a cool down because we've been running at times in the upper 70s for morning lows with all this humidity. But now that that has changed, we're going to start getting into some lower temperatures. That'll feel nice. There's the comfortable range coming up for the humidity. In the tropics, of course, we have what will become Sarah here in the Western Caribbean, and that's the forecast. In fact, tomorrow we should have a named storm here. Right now, still disorganized. Still a lot of dry air kind of wrapping around it, but eventually we think it will get its act together and move towards the west and then kind of dive a little bit down towards Honduras. Water temperatures are there. That's a check. Tropical moisture, that'll be taken advantage of. And then the upper level wind pattern, got high pressure over this thing. So conditions are there for it to intensify. The reason it may not intensify all that much is because it's going to run out of Caribbean water. It's going to start going west, and that's going to start interacting here. And so if that center crosses and goes inland, we have a much weaker system that will be just, sheared apart and torn apart by the mountains there. And then it just doesn't get better for it as it goes to the north because the upper level winds will be strong. But let's say, and this is why it's a cone, right? Let's say that it stays here and it follows this trajectory here over water. That's where I think we need to watch that very closely because that means that it does have the potential to continue to intensify perhaps into a hurricane. It'll be close to it anyway, 70-mile-an-hour winds. And there are the models that eventually lift this up to the north and east. What we're left with after it interacts with Central America is the big question we have to answer. If it gets ripped apart, we're looking good for next week. Otherwise, we may have to deal with some rain and wind by the end of next week. This will be an issue once again. We saw the flooding today. The king tides are back. These are the next times of the high tides. And there's your forecast as we head through Thursday. Weekend fast approaching. And it'll be a nice one, too. Probably one of the nicest ones we've had here with temperatures in the low 80s, low humidity, and morning lows in the 60s and low 70s. That's going to be fantastic. And then hopefully we won't be watching the tropics by the middle and latter part of next week, but we'll keep you posted and we'll have a lot more information before the weekend to pass along. Jim.
I'm sure you will.